how difficult the dating game is for men. I used to think that Tinder came with 99 plus matches automatically as a scam, but hearing that it's real numbers and for men it stays near zero was an eye-opener. Story 1. Why men don't pick up hints. All women hint they like a guy differently. Guys are being respectful until they are told straight out by the woman that she is interested in them. Story 2. This may be little and silly, but I read once in this sub about someone's girlfriend washing his hair for him. I've been married to my husband for 12 years and have never even thought to do this. We shower together often, not even necessarily sexual in nature. So I decided one night I was going to wash his hair for him. I get little acrylic tips put on so my nails were long enough to be used. He must have said 20 times throughout the whole thing how good it felt. He closed his eyes the whole time and just held onto my hips while I washed his head. Nothing innately sexual. He thanked me and hugged me several times. It was just something no one had done for him in probably 30 or more years. It was an excellent suggestion, and I'm genuinely glad some guy said they had loved it so much. It made me want to do it for my guy. Thank you. Story 3. Started complimenting guys I know at work. One time I complimented one on his shirt. From then on, I started noticing him wearing that shirt constantly. Story 4. I stopped feeling hurt when my significant other would reply nothing to me when I asked him what he was thinking about. So much stupid anxiety and suspicions have now been avoided. Love this subreddit. Story 5. I've learned 1. Grown men are way less judgmental than I thought. Most are very nice, can be a little shy, and are just trying to be respectful. I never have to play games in dating again. If I like someone, I just tell him, and if the feeling is mutual, it saves everyone time and stress. Compliment men more on their outfits if they are doing a good job on something, their skills, pretty much anything. I need to buy a sundress immediately. Initiate intimacy with my next partner and don't be shy about it. And finally, there are so many wonderful men out there, and this community has highlighted that. Since this is anonymous, and people share their true feelings, I have so much hope that there's a man out there who will appreciate me for who I am and, most importantly, let me shower him with all the love and care I can muster. Story 6. I was honestly surprised to find how many men say how rare it is to receive a no-strings-attached genuine compliment on their appearance, their skills, their generosity, caring nature, and so on. It has definitely made me more conscious in my interactions with men now, from my boyfriend, brother, and coworkers. Story 7. Reiterating the compliment thing because that's a fair one. I also learned that I'm going to need to be way more direct about my intentions when I'm trying to flirt. Hello? I'd like to sit on your lap, please, and thank you. Yes. Story 8. This probably speaks to my own ignorance, but I kind of learned about caloric deficits on this subreddit. I saw it talked about a few times on fitness and weight loss related threads and started reading about it. I have been working out almost religiously since August or September last year, but never changed my diet. Since going on a caloric deficit in February, weight is actually coming off every week. People who said diet is more important than exercise were right. I have learned more things, of course, but this comes to mind right now. Story 9. To be honest, a lot of relationships are completely dysfunctional while being considered normal, and it makes me really sad. Sorry for all the guys out there with crazy women, and sorry for all the women out there with crazy men. And especially sorry to all the people settling for the dysfunction because they literally do not know any better. Story 10. I've taken a lot of advice from this subreddit that the lack of physical affection, not talking sex but like hugs and stuff, is really sad. So I've made a point of hugging the men in my life more. Also, the head scratches. I started doing this to my partner and he just melts. I've also started being the big spoon sometimes. I make sure to ask him in-depth questions about his day and make sure he feels heard and not carrying the weight of any problems on his own. I make sure that I'm romantic too. I don't expect him to be romantic all the time. I initiate sex more, though beating him to it can be difficult. I send him random "I love you" messages and compliment him. I compliment the men in my life more, though I'm still hesitant to do this with strangers other than saying, "You're rocking that shirt or shoes," or "I like your haircut." All this stuff should be obvious, but lurking in this subreddit makes me more conscious of making sure I'm doing these things. I'm grateful, my friends. Thank you all for the lovely words and awards. I hope you all find the happiness I've been lucky enough to find, and take care of it when you do. Story 11. I've become more aware of the fact that men often feel like they have to overwork themselves because society's value on them is about what they can provide. They feel disposable and suppress a lot, not because they don't want to, but because they don't want to be dismissed, made fun of, or taken advantage of. This was so heartbreaking to see recurring in the comments. I often see comments about women asking their men to open up and being upset when they don't. I have seen the outcome when some men open up to their significant others, and sadly the women and everyone around them are so conditioned to think men have to be strong, they felt repulsed by their partner exposing themselves. It infuriated me. I see how guy friends and guy groups are so important to men because sometimes it's their only outlet to let go. I hope you all find someone who accepts you and encourages healthy guy group hangouts. Sometimes, reading the comments, I just want to hug everybody even though I'm not a hugger. I hope you all find support and live a happier life. Story 12. Interesting things that keep coming up on this forum and I try to incorporate into my life with my men. How difficult it is for men to connect emotionally with people other than their significant others. How rare it is for men outside romantic relationships to receive anything resembling positive affection. Encouragement, a compliment, a hug, a kind word, any sort of physical affection. Even for men that are in romantic relationships, how exhausting it feels to always be the one giving the positive affection to their partners. How men appreciate and like compliments just as much as we do and end up receiving so very few of them. How lonely it is to be considered the provider of the family, being judged mostly by your career choices and their monetary outcomes. How much you like it when we jetpack you. I am sure there's more. Honestly, this forum is probably my favorite online, and probably the one I've gotten the most out of. It really helps me better understand my husband and all the other important men in my life. Dad, brother, male friends, colleagues, and patients. Even our 5-year-olds sometimes. I believe this forum has helped me become a better wife, mother, sister, friend, etc. Thanks, men. Several people have asked what jetpacking is and I can't reply anymore. I learned the term here. It's when men are being the small spoon when cuddling. Wasn't expecting this. Thank you for the awards, you people rock. Story 13. Give enough attention to your partner. They have it hard too, even if they claim everything is alright because they are men. Men also appreciate it when you initiate sex. Being the only one to do it frustrates them. I'm not often here, but those are the highlights I can think of. Story 14. I make a point of it each day to tell my fella he's a snack, that I'm proud of him, and that I'm the luckiest girl to get to be with him. It brightens his day, and I want him to know how great he is. Story 15. 1. I need to buy a lot of sundresses. Men have it hard too. Pay more compliments. Be okay with being forever alone because no one wants to date a nurse. Story 16. I have become a lot better about giving my significant other his me time when he gets home from work. I now know he needs that time to switch off for a bit. So now he plays some video games while I cook dinner. I have also started initiating sex way more than I have ever done before. Okay, sure, I get turned down sometimes, but I know it's just because he's tired. We're having a lot more sex now though, so yay. Story 17, where to begin? Compliments mean a lot to you. For me, this is tricky because I am used to giving compliments to everyone regardless of gender. I now understand because it means more for men and can be seen as attention in terms of dating. I need to be careful, still give you compliments because you need them and deserve them, but be clearer about my intentions and that I'm just being nice as a friend. Sometimes we're the problem. Running around saying empty phrases about feminism and equality without really understanding what we're saying or why we're doing what we're doing can be quite triggering and damaging for men to hear. The mental health issues aren't fair. We need to talk about it more. It's messed up. We're so focused on women's issues, and I wish there were more discussions happening about how we raise men in a society and how it impacts them later in life. My time observing here has shown me many of you are sensible, sensitive, rational human beings who understand basic life skills. There is a common misconception about men being useless in the kitchen, men acting like babies. I dislike all that, and observing here has validated that many sane men exist in this world, so thanks for that. You have feelings outside of sex, sex, sex. This is probably the biggest one, as most women walk around believing that's all guys think about. It has been a breath of fresh air to observe here and see that, yes, men have personalities that don't revolve around sex. Groundbreaking. Story 18. How far a compliment or a few moments of real attention go for men. How unappreciated and inadequate a lot of men feel about themselves but feel like they have to hide it. I have always liked complimenting my partner and male friends, but I started getting more specific with them, started telling them I am proud of them and appreciate them. Working on being a better listener, they deserve to have the floor and express themselves without someone talking over them. I ask them how they feel about something or their thoughts instead of just acknowledging things with, "That sucks. You must be upset." Story 19. That the lessons I internalized from growing up in a hugely dysfunctional family with men who should not have been role models are inaccurate, and I need to rethink my view of men. That many men are not bad-mannered, elitist, narcissistic, condescending egomaniacs. That many see women as equals and do things to validate them, not subjugate them. That I need to recognize which men fall into which categories. That by and large, men are thoughtful and kind. And what I can do to better my relationship with the good men in my life. Story 20. That I wish I could give a long, loving hug to a big majority of guys here and tell them they are enough, they deserve to be loved, and that everything is going to be all right. Story 21. That you guys ask far more interesting questions than the Ask Women crowd. I've gotten really excited about some of the questions, only to realize they weren't directed at me. Story 22. The biggest surprise was learning how men rarely receive words of comfort or appreciation. How so many men feel like something as small as someone smiling at them could make their day. I've had a lot of negative experiences when it comes to men right from childhood, but I have to say, this group made me look at men in a totally different light. You're so wholesome, kind, and thoughtful, especially the love that I see from married men towards their spouses. Another important thing I've learned is how easy it is to make you all happy. Lightsaber, tacos, and boobs. Bingo, a very happy man. Story 23. That blowjobs are more enjoyable to some men than vaginal intercourse, and the reverse is true for others. Also, when I run some of the more interesting posts, such as that one by my guy, we can learn more about what each of us likes. This Reddit group can, at times, be an educational, marriage counseling, or sexual therapy service. Thanks, Ask Men. Story 24. Just joined, but my experience with men in general has mostly been really good. I think hearing men talk unguarded and without judgment is really helpful for understanding, empathy, and learning, so I'm really just here for that. Story 25. It's tough to put this succinctly. I regularly ask my 31-year-old female partner 33-year-old male questions like the ones I see on here. He's a good-looking, successful, and very well-adjusted man. A real catch. It's kind of shocking that a lot of guys seem to give the same answers as he does. A lot of explanations make more sense when I hear them articulated from a man in as good of a place as he is and echoed here. The most concerning is how lonely men are, not as a mental illness but as a norm. It bothers me how often my friendly disposition is treated as flirting when, if and when I flirt, I'm direct because I don't care to waste time and spend my life with someone I'm indifferent about. It makes sense now. Men, my partner included, aren't used to a woman being just warm and friendly to them without intent. And it's sad. I don't know who is to blame. As a woman from a small town, I've gotten myself into dangerous situations in the city because I'm overly friendly, and I've armed myself with caution as a result. I don't feel like a bad person for not being personable with every man who wants my time. I don't have enough time in the day, and I am past the point in my life where I feel responsible for larger problems while I'm trying to buy a sandwich. And men being afraid to cry around their female partners. Why? How is this a thing? Crying is good. It's a healthy emotional release. Why wouldn't I want to listen to my partner's problems? Why wouldn't I want to sit there and be like, yeah, forget that guy. With him, I can't believe that any sane woman would complain about men not valuing their input but wouldn't want to listen to him and discuss things with him that he obviously cares about enough to have strong feelings over. I've been in healthy relationships and unhealthy ones, and I can't imagine a healthy relationship with a man who can't confide in me and cry with me or to me. I believe him, and by extension, everyone, when everyone says it's a thing, and I'm profoundly disappointed in my fellow women for setting this standard. Why wouldn't you want your partner to be vulnerable to you? That's trust right there. You have his trust. You have his heart. Story 26. From the stuff I've seen here, I try my best to compliment my partner and give him all the physical affection he missed out on from others. I just hope I'm not doing this to an overwhelming degree. I also occasionally attempt to be the big spoon, but it feels like I'm a sloth hanging onto a big old branch, then making my partner feel held.